Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week. We are on the way of surviving this week and having a cold brewski with the friends on Friday. Happy hump day my friends. We begin with great news before we get on to some questionable news. I want to give credit where credit is due. Sweden will donate 16 billion kroner, or actually it's $1.6 billion in military aid to Ukraine. And it's not money, it's the equipment they will send in the value of 1.6 billion. Now, a huge sum of that money will be spent similarly like the United States aid, meaning close to $1 billion of that amount will be spent in Sweden, ordering from Swedish companies to make up weapons and ammunition and everything to be sent to Ukraine, meaning this 1 billion will make jobs in Sweden, pay wages in Sweden, and Ukraine will get the end product. But the rest, about 500 million, will be used outside of Sweden. That's a very important point to mention with military aid almost all across the Western world, that majority of it is always spent in the country who donates it, creating jobs, paying wages, investing into the military-industrial complex of that specific country. Thank you, Sweden. We in Estonia and the Baltics, Poland, Finland, we know what this is worth. We really respect you for it, and Ukrainians will never forget it. My friends, last week, I had one day when I didn't have new Buy Me a Coffee monthly members, and some people really took it very seriously, or they wanted these patches because every monthly member will get one. Anyway, today I will butcher to oblivion a lot of names. So if you're not ready for that, if you don't want your ears to bleed, you can skip that part. But here we go. Hoppi, Mikael 69 Sniffer Toi, Nolan Poplevel, Wild Akseman, James Strickler, Mark de Keater, Holly Dark Teatk. They crack me up. They sound so ridiculous. Harri Jenna Talia, Luke Connelly, Robert and Neil Grave. And that's it. That's a lot of names. So thank you to all of these people who took up the call. You will get your patch. Just shoot me a message and buy me a coffee and I'll send that your way. You deserve it. Thank you, my friends. We'll jump immediately to Russia. I have a lot of news from Russia. First of all, the spring draft began in Russia. Putin signs it into effect every year. Draft is it's conscription. Russia is a conscript country. They have always been, and they have like a lottery version of it. You never know if you're gonna go, but if your name is pulled, you're gonna go. And this year, Putin signed the biggest number of conscription in the last 20 years. It's 160,000 new conscripts for this specific spring conscription. It will take place in April 1st to July 15th, and most of the conscripts, they're heavily pressured during that conscription. It's 1 year to join the contract armed services of Russia. Now, first of all, even conscripts are sent to fight. I mean, they're not usually sent to Ukraine, they're sent to like Kursk or Belgorod, these Russian areas very close to Ukraine, but bombs are flying there all the time, and sometimes Ukrainian special forces raid these areas. So there are instances of Ukrainians capturing these Russian conscripts, and the conscripts are saying that although Putin promised not to send them anywhere near the hostilities, they're always sent there, always sent anyway ever since the start of the war. So these are 160K, of course not all of them will be sent, but a portion of them will take part in action as conscripts. That's the reality. Now, a juicy video for you. I hope YouTube allows me to show this, but now we go to Kherson, which is of course under Ukrainian control. Then there's the Kherson River or Dnipro River, and right next to it is Oleshki, like a sister settlement to Kherson. And there is a Russian underground bunker. Look at this. This is an old Soviet missile silo underground. There's like a mountain built on top. And bear in mind these holes here. See, Ukrainians already struck this with HIMARS and artillery, and it didn't do much because this is really a mountain, like earthworks put on top of the silo. It's quite safe. So what the Ukrainians did is a pair, 2 JDAM ER guided bombs fused as bunker busters, which means they will go through the first obstacle and explode in the second one. Check it out. We can clearly see it in the video. It's beautiful. boom, you can see it falling. You can see this is the bomb. It falls, penetrates the first one. This is not the main blast. It penetrated the first layer. Boom, that's the second one. Smoke coming out of the sides and the entrances. Damn. And the second one did the same, destroying this command point for the Russians. There were plenty of officers inside. This has been confirmed. Just to illustrate the location again, this is Kherson, this is Aleshki area, and the bunker was right here. And here you can see again how the bomb penetrates the first layer and then boom, explodes inside the bunker. I love bunker busters. They're beautiful and they do their job. Continuing on hits on Russians. I mean, here we have a beautiful, juicy drone attack in Crimea done by the Ukrainian Special Forces. They really do pick high-value targets in Crimea. I mean, anything Russia brings to Crimea that costs a lot, it will be destroyed, guaranteed. A new format that Ukrainians are using is real-time guidance of the drones. Usually long-range attack drones, they're not real-time guided. They don't have a pilot, they just put in the coordinates and drone flies itself. But in Crimea, they do fly them. Check this out, the drone is flying. This is a Russian anti-air missile, a Soviet missile, I think it's Pantsir-FS, missile system. And look what it does. Boom, it misses it. It just misses. That's the quality they have. All right, Krim. Let's watch this video because it's really beautiful. One bird almost flies into the drone. You can see the drone is shaking. Now this is, I think it's an anti-air missile again, which misses it. And now Ukrainians are starting to pick Russian boats, speedboats, attack boats, patrol vessels. I cannot say it's a Turkish shoot, but it's almost a Turkish shoot. Look at this. One attack boat filled with troops, boom, gone. Second attack boat, and we have an anti-air defense missile which misses, and the boat, boom, gone. Third attack boat, boom, gone. Beautiful. And now we get to the, I think it's Pantsir-S missile system. We get to the system itself and the radar. You can see it spinning right here, and bada boom, connected to it. Massive losses for the Russians for very cheap drones. And now to illustrate again the effectiveness of Russian anti-air defense capabilities, I mean they're mostly Soviet systems. This is the very same drone flying into the radar system, and in the background we can see the first anti-air missile flying up and connecting to itself, detonating itself. Sometimes they do the boomerang thing and destroy themselves. I don't know why. I guess they like to do that. They're very suicidal in the Russian army. And it does it again. Look at that. Again. Boom. Second one. So this is a radar, and I guess they have two launchers for the missiles. And both of them boomerang into themselves while Ukrainian drone takes out the radar. So two launchers and one radar destroyed means two red-on-red attacks on Russians and one blue-on-red attack by the Ukrainians. It's beautiful. You can see I'm having a lot of fun reporting on this. I have more attacks to show you. I do hope YouTube allows me to show this, but this is a compilation of Ukrainian heavy drones carrying special-made, like big explosives, and they're just planting them on Russian pontoon bridges. Yes, these still exist, and Russia is trying to mass them in some areas to cross some rivers. Well, they go. Bada beam, one goes, second goes, third one goes. I'm skipping forward. I'm sorry if you get dizzy, but I want to save your time. Anyway, this is the fourth one. Boom, gone. We have the fifth one, gone. There's so many of them. Pontoon bridges, not very expensive. They're not high-tech at all. They're just like, they're very easy to make. And they're very easy to destroy, as we can see. And Ukraine is focusing on that. Now, my friends, something so ridiculous came out of this Russian podcast. It's 30 seconds. I gotta show it to you. This is a Russian woman talking about how she wants to buy an apartment. And I'll just read you the subtitles. You are not ready for this. Check it out. Now I'm over 30, right? What should I do now if I want an apartment? Where do I get my money? It's simple and easy. You find a man who's currently serving in the special military operation, and he dies, and you will get 8 million rubles. Is this working? Of course it is. A lot of people are doing that now. So many women come to us with that 8 million rubles and they buy cheap apartments. And are they looking again? I don't know, I've never asked, like looking again for another man, a second man, I guess. I'll need to ask. The thing is, marriage numbers have spiked in Russia ever since Putin approved these massive payments to the families of the deceased. Russian women just want to gobble up these men, even like homeless and bomb guys, or like people who don't, like who are drinkings. They just want to marry them, because if they are sent to the special military operation, the woman will get 8 million rubles when the man dies. So Russian women are really making this into a business plan, which is sad and funny at the same time. All right, my friends, that concludes Russia, Ukraine. We're going to go to Taiwan and China. That's another whole topic, because I'm sure you're aware, but we got to go over this. China launched the biggest military exercise around Taiwan, and they're actually practicing blockading the island, and they are including 19 warships who are right now making a circle around Taiwan, deploying everything they have. Taiwanese destroyer shadowing the Chinese naval strike group off the south coast of Taiwan, monitoring them closely. And there is an aircraft carrier group of China, like a massive amount of ships. They're actually blockading Taiwan. I mean, it's a rehearsal, it's a practice for the invasion, but for the practice, they're actually doing it. And one of these days, one of these practices or rehearsals will turn into an invasion, just like Ukraine did for Russia in 2022. Just to illustrate what's really going on, right, this is the island of Taiwan, and they are practicing this kind of blockade, a physical military blockade of Taiwan. And one of these days, I mean, it's going to turn into an invasion. Now, it can turn into an invasion only 2 times per year. I'll open that up a little bit, because it's not like China can invade Taiwan anytime they want. They can invade 2 times a year, because it's South China Sea, it's a monsoon season, which means most of the year it's massive storms and big waves that you cannot land troops on. It's almost impossible. It's April and October. 2 times a year you can do that. Right now it's April, so they're obviously practicing every April. So if one time they decide to do it, it's another practice which turns into invasion. April is an invasion window of month. They have either April or October, due to the weather, to get in and find their ground in Taiwan and achieve their strategic goal. Other indicators would include if we start seeing things like blood drive, which isn't usual for the Chinese, commodity stockpiling, restrictions on VPN services, restrictions on the sales of rare earth minerals and metals. Now, I want to open this paragraph up because for the Estonian Defense Ministry, Estonian Foreign Intelligence, we are very closely watching what the Russians do on our border. We're watching many indicators. I think there's about 50 of them. 50, if you think about it, there's a lot of indicators. Like how much blood do they have on the hospitals close to the border? How much gasoline do they have in the military bases? How much stockpiled? How much ammunition is stockpiled there? Are there troops? Are there tanks? Is the Air Force getting ready for some? We're watching all of those closely. And we have a method, an algorithm of seeing if a certain amount of these indicators are green. It's like, okay, there's a lot of blood now being transferred to the hospitals. Suddenly we see like a 10x diesel stockpiled in the military bases close to Estonia. If we see these things, then we know, okay, something is happening. Certain things must happen before a country can launch an invasion. One of them is a massive stockpiling of blood, because soldiers will get injured. You need to do blood transfers. If you see that, it's an invasion. It doesn't happen for military exercises. It usually happens for an invasion. We are watching Russian hospitals, civilian and military, and their blood stockpile amounts. This is how deep we go into it. To be ready when they want to come for Estonia, we'll be ready, we'll be 2 steps ahead of them. All right, my friends, we go to another topic, which is Trump. Yes, and we begin with another Donald, not Donald Trump, but Donald Tusk from Poland. DT, like Donald Trump, but Donald Tusk. And he delivers a speech. I have to play you in full. It's 1 minute, but I stand behind every word of it. I believe every word of it. And it comes from Poland, which will be the strongest military in Europe, one of the strongest economies in Europe in the next 10 years. And they understand the Russian threat and the Russian mindset. So he says everything I want to say. We're going to watch it.
American friends, we have just signed our next Polish-American agreement in the field of defense. For us, both our friendship, our alliance, Our mutual loyalty is not an abstraction. We spend almost 5% of our GDP on defense.
I will stop here now for one moment. Estonia has also a goal for next year, 2026, to spend 5% of our GDP. Right now, we are at 3.2%, something like that. We will go to 5%. This is how seriously we will take it. And I do hope Latvia and Lithuania will follow suit, and Finland also.
Cooperation with the US. We are building a modern and the biggest army in Europe to defend our borders, but also our common values and interests. America could and always can count on Poland. You have only friends here. And I can say the same thing about Europe as a whole. You have friends and trusted allies from Portugal to Poland, from Denmark to Greece. In our common European-American interest are a strong US, a strong European Union, and a strong NATO, not weaker. Think about it, Mr. President and dear American friends, before you decide to impose tariffs against your closest allies. Cooperation is always better than confrontation.
I stand behind every word Donald Tusk says. I think he understands the situation perfectly, exactly how we want it to be understood here in Estonia. I think Donald Trump is making a massive mistake and shooting himself and all Americans in the foot with tariffs against the European Union and its closest allies like Canada and Mexico. I think American strength comes from strong allies, trusted allies, and stability of trade between allies. This is where strength comes from, not building walls. Walls not strong, allies and friendship strong. Why do I go to broken English to explain this? I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just, wall not strong, friendship strong. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up here. Let's get serious now. Very serious, actually, because Trump and his team has actually come out with the information of they are looking into how Trump could serve third term as a president. There are methods to a third term. This is what Trump has said, and he's blowing up the Declaration of Independence. I'm sorry if I make a mistake here. Well, this goes against the Constitution of the United States of America. This is unconstitutional, and they're looking into doing it. Just to illustrate how delusional Trump is about his presidency and the effect of his sanctions and attacking allies, here's 15 seconds to prove it.
We were respected as a country again, and we're strongly respected. And people are amazed. I was with some very important people today, and they said that they've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this.
They've never seen a turnaround of a country as fast as this, 100 days as a president. Yeah, the turnaround is towards fascism, and I don't throw that word around lightly. I know what it means. I'm from Estonia, for Christ's sake. From Europe, I know what's communism, fascism, and Nazism. I know the differences, where they come from, the historical implications, and I'm saying the word. Trump is a fascist president. He has fascist policies and is moving America towards fascism. Now, I'm not saying Americans are fascist. I say Trump is, and his team is, and MAGA definitely is. It's very dangerous, and it's destroying democracy. Now, to protest all of that, here is Senator Booker, who spent 25 hours making a speech, the longest speech in American Senate in the history. He broke the record. The previous one was 24 hours. And the speech was anti-Trump, and to illustrate how much he is destroying the guardrails of democracy in the United States of America. And now, you need to go to the bathroom 24 hours. Check it out.
Anything that allowed you to not have to go to the bathroom for 25 hours?
I don't want the Senate doctor to get mad at me. I don't want my doctor to get mad at me. But I really spent time dehydrating myself beforehand, so I did not have to go to the bathroom.
You didn't have to go to the bathroom at all?
Yeah, the dude had to think this through. I mean, he wanted to stand there 24 hours making a point. He did make a point. He broke the record. And this is a protest action. But I'm sorry, this is not connected to the channel at all, but look how this girl is eating the Senator Booker up with her eyes. This girl, I don't know who she is, but she wants him. All right, I'm getting off topic here. And here is Senator Booker closing this 25-hour speech, which is historical in the United States Senate.
John, Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
And this ovation goes on for quite a long time. I want to say, well done, Senator Booker. I have never heard about him before, but seeing how much he's ready, 24 hours, you try to do that. I mean, he is setting a point that we must stand up against Trump and his fascist policies. And if I must stand here for 25 hours and speak, I will do it, because that's the least I can do. Everybody else can do something also. Well done, Senator Booker. Trump calls today Liberation Day, 2nd of April, meaning his tariffs will go into effect, the biggest tariffs, 25% to Europe and Canada and everything. Let's open this up. Trump's tariffs kick in tomorrow. Well, that is today actually, and Canada is ready to wreck the United States economy. Well, it's not that black and white, but let's get into it anyway. What is it really? A $600 billion tax on Americans, while Canada sharpens the knives. Tariffs are taxes. Trump's tariffs on steel, aluminium, cars will raise prices across the board. $5K plus on new cars, layoffs in manufacturing, higher costs on everything from beer cans to appliances. You better not touch my beer, man. You better not make that more expensive. I will go to the streets if necessary. Who will get hit the hardest? Not China, not Canada or Mexico. Poor and middle-class Americans. And I want to comment here. America, again, I said what I think about American strength. Strength comes from trusted alliances and friendship and stability in trade. But also one of the strongest aspects of America, United States as a country, is their massive middle class, wealthy middle class. This has been the strength of their democracy, and even through that, the army, because the middle class pays the most amount of taxes, they make everything possible. That's the majority of the people. Trump's tariffs will take money away from the middle class and put it in the pockets of the millionaires and billionaires. Mostly billionaires, though. Because in America, even the middle class, they mostly have a value of over $1 million. So technically they are millionaires because Americans are rich compared to other people. But the thing is, they will even take from the middle class, put it in the pockets of the billionaires. So it's a pure oligarchy. Meanwhile, in Canada, 25% tariffs already hit 30 billion in US goods. Phase 2, 125 billion more. Oil, uranium, critical minerals, airspace, and check it out. Canada is America's #1 supplier of oil, uranium, nickel, aluminium, electricity in some regions. This is the way Canada can hurt Americans. And I hate to say this, I would never want Canadians to hurt Americans. I mean, they're family, their friends, their closest allies. But this is where Trump is pushing the friendship. Canada can hurt Americans, and I'm so sad to see that. I remember at the beginning of his presidency, 2025, he was talking about tariffs on Mexico's goods. Let's take it, orange juice and oranges, avocados, and all kind of stuff that comes from their jalapenos, for example. There's plenty of vegetables and fruits coming from Mexico. Trump is like, we're gonna tariff the hell out of them. All right. Well, here it is. Let me get this straight. Trump administration now is highly considering giving a bailout to US farmers who will be affected by Trump's trade wars. Beside the point that Republicans typically refer this type as a thing of Marxism and communism or socialism, when Democrats do it, doesn't this counter the entire idea of using tariffs to try and help balance the budget? You now want to spend more money by bailing out those whom your tariffs hurt. It's like a giant cycle of stupidity. That's exactly what I thought at the beginning of his term when he promised to do this. He makes these tariffs, which he says will benefit American farmers. They hurt American farmers. Now he has to take government taxpayer money to bail out these American farmers. Who wins from this? There are no winners in trade wars. This is a very old saying, and it's a true saying. Trump started a trade war, and everybody's hurting. Now we go to Trump, Ukraine, Trump, Russia, guys. We haven't even covered it yet. I have an 18-second clip here I want you to watch.
But through you, I heard that they're now saying, well, I'll only do that deal if we get into NATO or something to that effect. Well, that was never, number one, discussed. Number two, I think it's going to be very long before Putin. They said you're not going into NATO, and it could be that's probably the reason the war started. Actually,
Trump has no idea why the war started. Why is it so important? He thinks the war. He's fully in the Russian information sphere, which states for 3 years now that the war started because of NATO expansion. Well, the truth is, war started and then NATO expanded because Finland and Sweden were immediately wanted to join NATO. The thing is, if you don't understand the Russian mindset, the Russian people, the President Putin, dictator Putin, why he's doing these things, you cannot fight against him. You cannot fight against the mindset, the imperialism. Trump has not the slightest idea how the Russians think and why they think like that, why Putin started this war. So he has no means to fight against it. To fight against something, you gotta understand it, the root causes of it. Then you can develop a weapon against it. He doesn't understand. He also doesn't understand why Ukrainians fight. He thinks Ukrainians fight to push Trump over the border or to use Americans or take their money. No, Ukrainians are fighting for survival. It doesn't matter if it's American or European money. Whose money is it? They need to survive. If you're in that situation, you will take whatever possible and try to survive. In that sense, you cannot apply these methods like Trump is applying, pushing a country fighting for survival by taking away their military aid. He's using these tactics, showing he has no idea about the basis or fundamentals of this war for survivals for Ukrainians and this war of aggression for the Russians. He doesn't understand neither sides. So he cannot broker a ceasefire. You can broker a ceasefire from the position of neutrality, so both sides respect your neutrality and come to the table. Trump's, first of all, not neutral. He doesn't really like Ukraine at all. Second of all, he does not understand this war and the fundamentals of it, so he cannot broker a ceasefire to it. So I'm going to say it, Trump will fail in the ceasefire attempts. He will fail and he will have to swallow that pill. Just to illustrate this point even more, I feel like I'm illustrating that every video, but we have to talk about it. Look what Trump achieved with the fake negotiations. Russia launched a record of 4,198 attack drones against Ukraine in March. This is statistics. Let's just look at the pure numbers. Trump's term began, January 25. And look at the spike in Shahed drones. Immediately Trump gave Putin a stage to talk. He brought him as a talking partner, which nobody did before that. And Putin immediately starts humiliating Trump and Americans and lessening them by talking to Trump. Trump goes, oh, we have made a ceasefire. And then Putin is like, boom, shoot 1,000 more drones just to show that Trump is an idiot. Yeah, Russia has only increased their attacks. And Vance and Trump are claiming that some kind of ceasefire is holding. So they're fully delusional in their own bubble of information. I guess Trump doesn't even have an idea that Russia has increased attacks. He thinks the ceasefire is holding. Okay, my friends, now we will go to United States, Iran. That's another topic. Same war, different topic. Iranian Airspace Forces Commander Brigadier General Amir Ali, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that. He takes shots at the US. I quote, "Those who live in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. The Americans have at least 10 bases and 50,000 troops in the region. They're sitting in a glass room." Now in this, I think Iran is playing with fire, because the United States could send Iran back to the Stone Age, and also with Israel. Israel is very much interested in it. Point is, Iran is taking big shots at the US. They're threatening the US and they're very close to developing a nuclear weapon right now. Trump took a lot of pride, and it was one of his policies to get elected, is that I will put Iran back to their place. He's not doing that. He's not putting Russia back to the place. And Iran is taking shots at the US. We have a chopper outside. Incoming fire. Let's go deep into it, because Trump really is flexing the muscle. I guess he thought Russia and Iran both are going to back down as soon as Trump is president. But no, they don't really care. They're playing Trump. Check it out. At least 6 US B-2 bombers are now stationed at Diego Garcia Air Base in the Indian Ocean. This is important because the B-2 is the only aircraft that can deliver the massive GBU-57, one of the only bombs that can destroy Iran's nuclear sites at Natanz and Fordo. Diego Garcia Air Base is over 2,000 miles from Iran, making it an ideal location, far enough to give the US Navy time and space to defend its strategic B-2 bombers from Iranian missiles and drones, yet close enough for the B-2 to strike targets deep within Iran. Carrying two GBU-57 bombs that weigh over 13 tons each, the B-2 has a range over 4,500 miles. The 9 KC-135 air refueling tankers, also stationed at Diego Garcia, give these stealth bombers the range to conduct bombing raids on Iran from any direction. Iran knows this, they see Trump flexing, sending these bombers to Diego Garcia. Israel is ready. We have 100 United States F-35s, F-15s and F-18s in the Middle East stationed and ready to go. And Iran is still taking shots at the US, knowing that they could be sent back to the Stone Age any moment. Well, I'm telling you all of this to illustrate Trump's delusionism. He thought just the fact that he is president will bring Putin to respect him and Iran to bow down to him again, to join the nuclear deal again. No, it's not happening. And Trump is really losing his ground on this. I guess he will sometime wake up to the fact that Putin doesn't care and just making fun of him. And Iran is still taking shots at the US, although US has the B-2s ready and Iran knows how much they can hurt Iranian nuclear program. They're still taking shots. So either Trump will have to make real pain to the Russians and to the Iranians. He's really afraid of doing that. I mean, he hasn't done it. Or he will have to back down and then he's super weak. Right now, he's just in the middle, in the limbo, waiting for these two dictators to bow down to him. Hasn't happened yet. He will have to take some military action against both of these regimes. All right, my friends, now we go fully into the United States politics. It's this area where a lot of people say, Artur, stay out of it. Hey, I'm not staying out of it. I'm jumping head first into it, and I don't care. We're going to talk about Wisconsin Supreme Court judge race, because this is where also Elon Musk comes in. There was a judge race between Democrat judge and Republican judge, and of course Elon Musk, being the dude who he is, he likes to buy elections. He bought Donald Trump for $290 million. Well, the race is over in Wisconsin, and Elon's candidate lost. I will read these 3 paragraphs to you. Judge Susan Crawford preserved liberals' narrow majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court Tuesday by defeating conservative Brad Schimmel, but in a way that the real loser of the election was billionaire Elon Musk. Musk and his affiliate groups sunk at least $21 million into the normally low-profile race and paid 3 individuals over $1 million each for signing a petition in an effort to goose turnout in the pivotal battleground state contest. All right, I'll stop here, but the point is, Elon put a lot of money into it. He gave 3 guys $1 million and he gave a lot of voters some money to vote. I think this is illegal in the US, but he did that. He pretty much tried to buy the judge to win. But Brad lost, and I want to watch his loss speech, not to take shots at him, but to give him respect. Now again, I don't know who he is. I don't know who this Democrat is who won, but I can say something about a person by the way they take a hit. And let's look at it.
Just didn't work. And yeah, I've called Judge Crawford and conceded. No. You got to accept the results.
That's it. Massive respect from me. Again, I don't know who he is, what he stands for, but I can see how he takes a loss. He called Susan and conceded. He looked at the numbers. Okay, I'm losing. I'm going to go out. And some people in the audience are saying, no, you got to fight. You know what Trump does. Every time he loses, he doesn't accept it. He just runs away from the loss, just blaming everybody else. This man here says, no, I lost. That's it. I called Susan. That's it. The numbers don't lie.
Just don't. Yeah, right. I'm not up here making any joke. This is, the numbers aren't going to aren't going to turn around. They're too bad, and we're not going to pull this off.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of losses in my life due to my own stupidity. Now, the biggest thing I've gained from these losses is pain. If you accept it, it gives you a gift of knowledge to change yourself. I took a hit, I made a mistake, now I'm hurting. What can I change in the future? That's the analysis process of taking a loss. Now, Trump never goes through that. He always, when he takes a hit, he always shifts the blame, so he takes away the opportunity to change himself, to learn something from it. He shifts it away. I see this guy, I don't know who he is again, what he stands for, but I see him right now taking a loss publicly in front of people, and I really respect that. So yeah, I actually wanted to show you the losing candidate to show my respect to him. But of course, the real loser here is Elon Musk. Billionaire donations to Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Elon Musk, what is it, almost 20 million. Yeah, a massive amount lost here. And I mean, let's just, you have all seen it, but this is the donations to American presidential election 2024. Elon Musk, $291 million. He bought this election for Donald Trump. My friends, that's it for today. Thank you for trusting your time with me. I promise not to waste it. And as I mentioned in every video, you will get 4 extra videos per month if you are a channel member. Sign up, it's only 99 cents. Every Saturday you'll get an extra members-only video, an in-depth analysis of a specific narrow topic connected to Russia-Ukrainian war. Become a member and you will see an additional video. For example, this week's video is Panama Canal, United States versus China. It's a war they're fighting there. Until my next video, which will be on Friday, be sure to be back. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.